On a faraway planet named Xandor, a group of alien explorers landed their small ship. The sky was a bright shade of purple, and strange plants grew all around. The aliens, known as the Zorlans, were curious and excited to explore this uncharted world. Their leader, Commander Zera, was known for her bravery and keen sense of adventure. She led her team of 6 skilled explorers across the rocky terrain. As they walked, the team came across unusual shapes half buried in the ground. "What is that?" One of the Zorlans, a young explorer named Tico, asked with wide eyes. The others gathered around. It looked like a giant metal shell covered in dirt and moss. They could see old symbols carved into the metal, but the ship seemed abandoned and forgotten. Commander Zera moved closer and brushed off some dirt. The ship had a long, sleek design, but it looked very old, like something from a story. "This must be an ancient warship," she said, her voice filled with wonder. The others exchanged looks of disbelief. "An ancient warship? It looks like a rusty piece of junk," mocked Grux, another member of the team, with a loud laugh. "Who would build something so useless?" The others joined in his laughter, not taking the discovery seriously. But Zera's curiosity grew. She could sense there was more to this ship than met the eye. "Let's investigate further," she insisted. The team rolled their eyes but followed their leader. After all, they were explorers and adventure awaited. As they dug around the ship, Tico found a strange symbol that looked like a star. "Look at this!" he shouted, excitement bubbling in his voice. Zera rushed over and studied it closely. "This symbol. I've seen it before in old records. It belongs to a race called humans." The Zorlans looked at each other, their interest piqued. Humans were said to be a powerful species that once roamed the galaxy, but they had vanished long ago. Many believed that humans were nothing but a myth. The thought of discovering something made by them thrilled Zera and the others. "Let's see if we can open it," Zera said, eager to learn more. They began to search for a way to access the ship. As they explored, they found more symbols and markings. Some were beautiful, while others looked fierce, like they told stories of great battles. Suddenly, Grux stumbled upon a control panel hidden beneath layers of dust. "Hey, check this out!" he yelled. The team gathered around as Grux pushed a button. With a loud rumble, the ship shook, and the ground beneath them trembled. The Zorlans jumped back in shock. "What did you do?" Tico gasped, eyes wide with fear. The ship's systems came to life, and lights flickered on, casting eerie shadows around them. A low hum filled the air, and the Zorlans exchanged nervous glances. "I think we should leave," Grux suggested, looking pale. But Zera stood firm. "No! This is incredible. We need to see what happens next." The ship continued to awaken, and strange sounds echoed from within its walls. "What if it's dangerous?" Tico asked, his voice shaking. "Or what if it holds great knowledge?" Zera replied, her eyes shining with determination. She stepped forward, ready to explore further. The Zorlans knew they were standing on the brink of something extraordinary. As they stood before the ancient warship, they could feel the weight of history surrounding them. Little did they know that this discovery would change everything they thought they knew about the galaxy and the lost species of humans. The Zorlans felt a mix of fear and excitement. They had found something that could lead to adventure, danger, and perhaps even a new understanding of a species long thought to be extinct. The true story of the warship was about to unfold, and the Zorlans were ready to uncover its secrets. The ancient warship hummed softly, and the air around it felt alive. Commander Zera and her team of Zorlans stood frozen in awe, staring at the ship. The lights flickered like stars in the night sky, and strange sounds echoed from deep within its metal walls. Zera could feel excitement bubbling inside her. They had stumbled upon something amazing, and she wanted to know more. "Can you believe this?" Tico whispered, his eyes sparkling with wonder. "We might be the first to discover a ship made by humans." Zera nodded, her heart racing. "Let's find a way inside. We need to see what this ship can do." With determination, she moved toward the control panel that Grux had uncovered. The glowing buttons and screens looked inviting, but also mysterious. As they gathered around the panel, Grux hesitated. "What if it's dangerous?" "We don't know what we're dealing with," he warned. His voice was shaky, and the others could sense his fear. Zera took a deep breath. "We're explorers. It's our job to discover the unknown. We can't turn back now." With that, she pressed a large green button at the center of the panel. The moment she did, the ship shuddered again. The lights grew brighter, and the humming became a roar. Suddenly, the ground shook beneath their feet, sending rocks tumbling down the hill. The Zorlans held on to each other to keep from falling. "Zira, stop!" Tico shouted, panic rising in his voice. But it was too late. The ship began to open slowly, revealing a massive doorway. A gust of wind rushed out, bringing with it the scent of metal and dust. The Zorlans looked at each other wide-eyed. "Should we go in?" Tico asked, glancing nervously at the open doorway. Zira's curiosity pushed her forward. "Yes! We have to see what's inside. It could hold secrets about humans." She stepped into the ship, her heart racing with excitement. Inside, the air was cool and filled with a strange energy. The walls were covered in shiny screens that flickered with images and text. The Zorlans marveled at the advanced technology around them. They had never seen anything like it before. "What do all these buttons do?" Grux asked, running his fingers over the smooth surface of a control panel. "What if we press the wrong one?" "Let's be careful," Zira said, trying to stay calm. "We need to find out how this ship works." As they explored, they noticed more symbols on the walls. Some showed battles and victories, while others depicted peaceful scenes of human life. Zira felt a sense of connection to these lost beings. They had fought hard and built something great. Suddenly, a loud voice echoed through the ship, startling everyone. "System reboot in progress. Initializing human interface." The voice was mechanical, but it sounded friendly. The Zorlans exchanged worried glances. "What does that mean?" Tico asked, his heart racing. "I think it means the ship is waking up," Zara replied. She felt a rush of hope. "Maybe it can tell us more about humans." As the voice continued, the screens lit up with images of humans in various environments: flying ships, great cities, and vast fields. The Zorlans watched in awe. They saw humans laughing, fighting, and exploring just like them. "Look!" Grux pointed at a screen showing a group of humans training together. They were warriors, too, just like us. The voice suddenly changed. "Welcome, Zorlans. You have awakened the warship named Elysium. It is designed for exploration and defense. Are you ready to learn about your ancestors?" The Zorlans gasped. "Did it just talk to us?" Tico exclaimed, excitement in his voice. "Yes!" Zira said, her heart pounding. "This ship knows about humans. We can learn so much." The ship continued, accessing historical data. "Human legacy is rich and complex. You will discover the truth about their past." Zira felt a wave of determination. This was their chance to understand the humans, to uncover the stories that had been buried for centuries. "Let's begin," she said, her eyes shining with ambition. As the ship began to display more information, the Zorlans felt a bond forming with the humans they had never met. They were no longer just explorers. They were part of a grand story, one that could change their lives forever. In that moment, they realized that the ancient warship was not just a relic. It was a bridge to the past, and it held the key to a future filled with possibilities. The adventure was just beginning. As the Zorlans gathered around the control panel of the Elysium, the ship's screens lit up with images and stories from a long-gone era. Commander Zara felt a rush of excitement. The ancient warship was not just a machine, it was a treasure trove of history, waiting to be uncovered. "Let's see what secrets lie within," Zira said, her voice filled with determination. The Zorlans leaned closer, their eyes wide as they watched the images flash across the screens. The first image showed a group of humans dressed in colorful uniforms, standing proudly in front of their ships. "These are the first human explorers," the ship's voice explained. "They traveled to distant worlds, seeking new knowledge and understanding." Tico, filled with curiosity, pointed at the screen. "They look brave, just like us." Grux nodded. "But what happened to them? Why did they disappear?" The ship responded. "The humans faced many challenges. They fought against powerful enemies and overcame great obstacles. However, their greatest threat came from within their own kind." The screen changed, displaying scenes of intense battles. Humans clashed with other races and smoke filled the skies. The Zorlans watched in shock as the war unfolded before them. "This is terrible!" Tico gasped, covering his mouth. "Yes," Zira agreed, "but it shows their strength. They were not afraid to fight for what they believed in." The ship continued to share stories. It showed humans building great cities and exploring the stars. The Zorlans could see the humans' achievements, their creativity, and their passion for discovery. Zira felt a sense of admiration growing in her heart. Suddenly, the images shifted again, showing a different side of humanity. The screen displayed scenes of destruction, burned cities, and empty streets. This was the result of their conflicts, the ship explained. As wars raged on, many lost their lives and their civilization began to crumble. Grux frowned. How could they let this happen? They were so powerful. Zira spoke softly. Even the strongest can fall. It's a reminder that peace is as important as strength. She felt a deep respect for the humans, realizing they had faced trials that tested their very existence. The ship then showed images of humans searching for a solution. To save their species, the humans created a plan. They put their best warriors and leaders into a deep sleep, hoping one day they could awaken and rebuild. Deep sleep? Tico asked, his eyes widening. You mean they're still alive? Yes, the ship replied. They await the time when they are needed again. This warship was designed to protect them until that moment. Zira's heart raced with excitement. We must find a way to wake them. They can help us! Grux looked worried. But what if they are angry? What if they don't want to wake up? We can't know unless we try, Zira said firmly. We owe it to them to bring them back. They fought for their future, and now we have the chance to honor that. The ship's screens continued to display human history, revealing moments of triumph and sorrow. Zira watched as humans came together, sharing laughter and love, finding joy even in hard times. She saw them building bridges across differences, uniting to face challenges together. This is incredible! Tico exclaimed. They were so much more than just warriors. They were dreamers and builders. Yes, Zira replied, feeling inspired. And we can learn from their mistakes. We need to unite just like they did to protect our own future. As the historical journey continued, Zira felt a deep connection to the humans. They were not just a lost race, they were a part of her story now. She knew that awakening them would change everything for the Zorlands. With a newfound determination, Zira turned to her team. We must work together to prepare for their awakening. We can create a world where peace reigns just as the humans dreamed. The Zorlands nodded, each feeling the weight of responsibility on their shoulders. They were ready to step into the unknown, guided by the lessons of the past. The Elysium was more than a ship, it was a bridge to a brighter future. As they gathered around the control panel, excitement buzzed in the air. The hidden history of humanity had awakened something deep within them, a hope that together they could build a better world. The Zorlands stood in the Elysium, filled with hope and determination. Commander Zira felt ready to awaken the ancient human warriors, believing they could help them protect their world. But as they prepared, a shadow loomed over their excitement. Look, Tico shouted, pointing at one of the screens. Something is approaching! The ship's sensors had detected an unknown vessel heading toward their location. The screen displayed a dark shape moving quickly through space. Grux squinted at the image, concern etched on his face. It looks like a warship, but it's not human. Zira felt a chill run down her spine. We need to find out who they are. Prepare for contact! The Zorlands rushed to their stations, their hearts racing with adrenaline. As the unknown ship drew closer, the Elysium's screens showed more details. It was massive, covered in sharp edges and glowing red lights, giving it a menacing appearance. Identify yourself, Zira called out, hoping for a peaceful resolution. But the response was not what she expected. We are the Kalar. A harsh voice boomed through the communication system. We seek the ancient warship. Surrender it to us or face destruction. The Zorlands exchanged worried glances. They had never heard of the Kalar before, but their threat was clear. Zira's heart raced. We can't let them take the ship. It holds the key to awakening the humans. What should we do? Tico asked, fear creeping into his voice. Zira took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. We must prepare for battle. The Elysium is powerful and we can use its weapons if necessary. She turned to Grux. Can you activate the ship's defense systems? Grux nodded, his fingers flying over the control panel. I'll do my best. But we need to be quick. As Grux worked, Zira tried to gather her thoughts. She knew they had to protect the ship at all costs. The humans inside could change everything for their people, and she would not let the Kalar ruin that hope. Zira! Tico called, his eyes wide with fear. They're firing weapons! The screens lit up with bright flashes as the Kalar ship unleashed a barrage of energy blasts. The Elysium shook violently, and alarms blared throughout the ship. Zira gripped the control panel tightly, her heart pounding in her chest. Activate shields! She shouted. We need to protect the ship! Grux pressed buttons furiously, and a shimmering energy barrier surrounded the Elysium. The Kalar blasts hit the shields with force, but the barriers held strong. Zira felt a rush of relief, but knew they had to act fast. "Return fire!" she commanded. "Show them we will not back down!" With a determined look, Grux targeted the Kalar ship and fired the Elysium's weapons. Bright beams of energy shot through space, hitting the enemy vessel. The Kalar ship rocked from the impact, but it did not back down. "Commander, they are regrouping," Grux warned, glancing at the screens. "They're preparing to attack again." Zira's mind raced. The Kalar were relentless and powerful, but they had the advantage of the Elysium's technology. "We must outsmart them. Tico, can you create a distraction?" Tico nodded, understanding the plan. "I can create a fake signal to draw their fire away from us." "Do it!" Zira ordered. Tico quickly set up the signal, and a decoy appeared on the screens, mimicking the Elysium's energy readings. The Kalar ship turned its weapons toward the decoy, giving the Elysium a moment of precious time. "Now's our chance!" Zira shouted. "We need to move!" Grux pushed the engines to full power, and the Elysium shot forward, dodging the Kalar's attacks. The ship's speed surprised the enemy, giving Zira a brief moment of hope. But the Kalar were not done. They quickly regained their focus, pursuing the Elysium with fierce determination. Zira knew they had to find a way to escape or defeat their new enemy. "We need to reach the nearest planet," she declared. "We can lose them in the atmosphere." Grux navigated the ship toward a nearby planet, his heart racing as he tried to outmaneuver the Kalar. Zira felt the tension rising. They were not just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for the future of humanity and the Zorlons. As they descended toward the planet, Zira's thoughts drifted to the sleeping humans within the ship. They were their only hope against the Kalar. If they could awaken them, they might stand a chance against this new enemy. The Zorlons had found something incredible, but now they faced a battle for their very existence. Would they be able to awaken the ancient warriors before it was too late? The Elysium raced toward the planet's surface, the Kalar warship hot on its trail. Inside the control room, Zira felt a mix of fear and determination. This was it, the moment they had prepared for. If they could land safely, they might have a chance to awaken the ancient humans and turn the tide of battle. "Hold on!" Grux shouted as he maneuvered the ship through the atmosphere. The Zorlons felt the ship shake violently as they entered the planet's airspace. The Kalar ship fired again, but the shots missed, exploding harmlessly in the sky. "Keep going, Grux! We need to reach the surface," Zira urged, her heart racing. As the ship descended, the lush green forests of the planet came into view. "There," Tico pointed. "That clearing looks big enough for a landing." Grux nodded and aimed for the open space. With a final push, he landed the Elysium safely, but the Kalar ship was not far behind. "They are landing too!" Tico exclaimed, his voice shaking with fear. "Prepare for battle," Zira ordered, her voice steady. "We need to defend the ship while we wake the humans." The Zorlons quickly gathered weapons and positioned themselves at the exits. Grux activated the ship's defense systems, ready to hold off the Kalar until they could complete their mission. Outside, the ground shook as the Kalar ship landed nearby. Zira could see the dark figures of the Kalar warriors disembarking, their armor glinting menacingly in the sunlight. "They're coming!" Tico yelled, his eyes wide with fear. "Stay strong!" Zira shouted, rallying her team. "We can do this together!" As the Kalar approached, Zira felt a surge of adrenaline. She remembered the stories of the ancient humans, their bravery and strength. She knew they could awaken these warriors, but first, they had to survive the fight ahead. The Kalar shouted battle cries as they charged toward the Elysium. The Zorlons stood their ground, firing their weapons at the incoming enemy. Bright beams of energy lit up the battlefield as Zira and her team fought back with everything they had. Grux fired the ship's cannons, taking out several Kalar warriors with precision shots. "We're holding them back!" he yelled, his voice filled with hope. But the Kalar were relentless. They advanced, firing their weapons and returning fire. Zira felt the weight of the battle pressing down on her. They needed more time to wake the humans. She could see the entrance to the cryo chamber glowing behind her. "Keep fighting! I'll start the awakening process," Zira shouted, running toward the chamber. "Be careful," Tico called after her, his voice filled with concern. Zira reached the cryo chamber and began to input the activation codes. The chamber lit up with energy as she worked quickly, her hands shaking with urgency. "Come on, come on!" she whispered, her heart pounding. Outside, Grux and Tico continued to fight against the Kalar. The enemy was closing in, and Zira could hear the sounds of battle echoing in her ears. She felt the pressure mounting, knowing that the fate of their worlds rested on this moment. Finally, with a bright flash, the cryo chamber doors began to open. Zira turned just in time to see a figure emerge, tall and powerful. The first human warrior stepped out, their eyes glowing with life. "Welcome back!" Zira shouted, hope flooding her heart. The human looked around, taking in the scene of chaos. "What's happening?" they asked, their voice strong and clear. "We are under attack by the Kalar! We need your help!" Zira replied urgently. Without hesitation, the human warrior nodded, their expression fierce. "Let's fight!" As more humans emerged from the chamber, Zira felt a renewed sense of hope. The battle shifted as the ancient warriors joined the fight, their skills and strength overwhelming the Kalar. The Zorlons fought alongside them, and together they pushed back the enemy. With each moment, the tide of battle changed. The Kalar were no match for the combined strength of the Zorlons and the awakened humans. Zira felt exhilarated as they fought, knowing they were no longer alone. "Charge!" the human leader shouted, leading the charge against the remaining Kalar warriors. Zira and her team followed, their spirits high as they pressed forward. The Kalar, realizing they were outmatched, began to retreat. Zira felt a rush of triumph. "We did it!" she shouted, a smile breaking across her face. As the last of the Kalar fled, Zira turned to the human warriors, gratitude filling her heart. "Thank you for coming back to us. Together we will protect our worlds." The human warrior smiled back, a glint of pride in their eyes. "We are ready to fight for our future." With a new alliance formed, the Zorlons and the humans stood united, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would ensure peace and protect their worlds from any new threats that might arise.